Hi, Ruma.
Hey Fiona, how are you?
Hey, good, thanks. So, what are the policies around consolidating debts?
With the lenders, okay. So consolidation of debts is basically, do you know what a consolidation is of the debts? When, let's say you've got a home loan and you've got a few credit cards, you've got some debts on that, or a car loan, and you want to consolidate them under your home loan, because obviously you pay a higher interest rate on the credit cards and on the car loan. So you'd like to consolidate everything under home loan. So what happens is, this is something which is very interesting, because we were doing a consolidation exercise last month, and we found out different banks actually have different policies. So let's say most of the banks, they consolidate not more than 5 debts. 5 meaning, let's say 4 credit cards and 1 car loan, or especially when they're credit cards, they won't do more than 3 or 4 consolidation. So that's number one policy, that try to find out the bank. If there's a client, like we had a client who wanted to consolidate 4 credit cards and 2 car loans, so we had to choose the lender properly. Then secondly, the policy is that how much is the surplus in the borrowing capacity. So there was one lender who wanted to have at least $500 surplus in the calculation. When you do the calculation, normally even if there's $1 surplus, banks are okay with that, but that particular bank wanted $500 in the surplus. So that was the second policy. Then the third policy is that there shouldn't be any arrears or any late payment or any defaults on the debts which we are consolidating. So past 6 month statements should be absolutely clean. Apart from that, I think I think these are the main 3, and some banks actually when they calculate the borrowing capacity, they take up the debt which you're going to consolidate only for 10 years term calculations. So normally they calculate the normal loan for 30 years loan term. But there are certain banks these days who take up the loan portion which you need to consolidate, let's say 50 grand, they'll calculate that on only 10 years. Because the debts which you're consolidating, they are debts like car loans, which is normally 5 to 7 years. Then there are credit cards, which are pretty high interest rate. So they try to then bring the term shorten, and then do the borrowing capacity on the shorter term.
Thanks.